Hello everyone, I hope you're all well. We're on day 5, I think it is, of our Churches Together Holy Week reflections. And today on Maundy Thursday, we're going to look at the dear old story of Peter, or more specifically, the painful reality of Peter's denial of Jesus. And I'm going to reverse the typical order a little bit and think about, first of all, the events that lead up to this moment of denial, and then read the gospel account, because I think the narrative just has a real power of its own and it's worth just letting it kind of stand there for itself. Now, I don't know what you make of Peter as a character, but I really, really like him. For me, he's a little bit like the Labrador puppy of the disciples. He has this boundless energy and enthusiasm. He's wonderfully devoted, and he tends to leap into muddy puddles before he's really thought through the implications of what it all means. Which makes him kind of likable, but also makes the events of this particular day so poignant. He also, Peter, has this capacity to overestimate his qualities as a Jesus follower, which again I think is pretty relatable. I'm not sure I would personally put it out there quite like Peter does. I wouldn't be as vocal as him, but internally, that inner voice, yeah, I know what it means to make some pretty grand promises to God, like, I'm your man, I'll do that for you, God, wherever you want me to go, I'll do it for you. Only to have the mirror held up on occasions and discover that those claims were overblown. And on this day, this particular day, Peter gets a concentrated dose of reality. At St. John's at the moment, we've recently been doing a sermon series called How to Live Through a Bad Day. And this is exactly what Peter goes through. If you just think about the catalogue of missteps that he makes in the run up to that moment when he's in the courtyard around that fire. Generally, he's been having a tough time getting his head around the possibility that his friend, his mentor, the one he's followed for the past 3 years, has to suffer and die. So much so that he earns the rather stinging rebuke from Jesus, "Get behind me, Satan," because he just cannot wrap his mind around it. But when we come to the specifics of this day, it's just one thing after another. He can't get a handle on the whole foot washing thing, and he flip-flops from "You'll never wash my feet, Jesus," to "Give me the full bath treatment," neither of which is quite what Jesus was aiming for. At the Last Supper, he makes wild boasts about his loyalty. When all those others have fled, I'll be there. I'll be the last man standing. I'll be by your side. We'll see. At Gethsemane, he falls asleep on the job when all he's been asked to do is hang in there and pray for Jesus. At his arrest, Jesus' arrest, he has a rush of blood and he lops off a guard's ear with his sword, betraying the fact that once again he has spectacularly misunderstood how Jesus wants to do things. Peter's report card is not looking good. Right up to that moment that Jesus predicted would happen, that his allegiance would falter despite all his claims. It's a crushing day for Peter. Little wonder then that he wants to return to fishing. All his efforts as a disciple, as a Jesus follower, seem to have missed the mark. His bravado feels hollow. And so this is a painful and a cautionary tale. And indeed, it should make us pause for thought, lest we fall into that risk of thinking that God is lucky to have us on his team. But as we reflect on these events, as we dip into the pain of this moment for Peter, as we contemplate our own missteps in faith, let's also allow ourselves a glimpse of the Easter reality, of the good news. Our capacity for self-deception is matched only by Jesus' capacity for redemption. And that indeed is good news and our hope. Amen. Let's listen to the account of Peter's denial from Matthew's Gospel. Then Jesus told them, "This very night you will all fall away on account of me, for it is written, I will strike the shepherd, and the sheep of the flock will be scattered. But after I have risen, I will go ahead of you into Galilee." Peter replied, "Even if all fall away on account of you, I never will." "I tell you the truth," Jesus answered. "This very night, before the rooster crows, you will disown me 3 times." But Peter declared, "Even if I have to die with you, I will never disown you." Now Peter was sitting out in the courtyard, and a servant girl came to him. "You also were with Jesus of Galilee," she said. But he denied it before them all. "I don't know what you're talking about," he said. Then he went out to the gateway, where another girl saw him and said to the people there, "This fellow was with Jesus of Nazareth." He denied it again with an oath, "I don't know the man." After a little while, those standing there went up to Peter and said, "Surely you're one of them, for your accent gives you away." Then he began to call down curses on himself, and he swore to them, "I don't know the man." Immediately a rooster crowed. Then Peter remembered the words Jesus had spoken. "Before the rooster crows, you will disown me 3 times." And he went outside and wept bitterly. Let's finish up in prayer, shall we? Just figuratively hold all those thoughts and feelings, emotions that you may have had as you were reflecting on Peter's denial, and just commit them to God. Let's be still for a moment as we draw to a close. Father, on this somber day when we reflect on the painful lessons that Peter learnt about himself, we hold before you our own frailty, our tendency to overestimate our faithfulness, the pain and perhaps guilt we may feel when our fickleness is exposed. We bring that to you now, and we give you thanks for your grace and your mercy. We praise you for your redemptive love, that love that looks to restore and reshape us. And we ask us today that you will fill us with your Spirit afresh, to enable us to be your people in this place and at this time, empowered by you. Amen.